All right. All praise to Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakadash. Yahweh be in the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai be in the name of His only begotten Son, who they evenly call Jesus Christ. Now we're going to get into the Gentiles situation. And first I'm going to read from the Bible dictionary. This is Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Okay. This is the guy or the family that make all the Bibles pretty much in America. So they have accurate information. Now, under heathen and Gentiles, this is what it reads. It says, heathen people, nation, or Gentile. It's a usually used for a non-Israelite people, and thus has the meaning of Gentiles. Usually, see that usually go a long way, because this is why we have the confusion, because people don't understand that this is a usual situation. Okay. Now let's get into here. It says the different the difference between Israelites and Gentiles was more sharply um, insinuated in the New Testament times than in the Old Testament times. The reason for this being chiefly that the Jews had suffered so much from Gentile hands. Gentiles was looked upon with aversion and hatred. You see, the Israelites hated the Gentile. They didn't deal with the Gentile. See, so what in the world makes these people think that the Gentiles in the New Testament is talking about the people that was hated by the Jews and the Israelites throughout their whole history? See, okay. Now, let's get into, let's see here. Let's back that thought up in Acts chapter 10 with Peter. Now, to make this situation with Peter so important, and this is one of the main situations too. Let's put this up here. Acts 10:28. This is a major situation. It says, and he said unto them, ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. You see, it was unlawful for the Israelites to deal with the Gentiles. And we talking about of another nation. That's why he reiterated it. He said to keep company or come unto one of another nation. It's an unlawful thing. And so what the confusion come in at is that they think Cornelius was not an Israelite. Now I'm gonna see if this Bible has a map. Okay. Paul's mission, Kingdom of David and Solomon. There it is. Now, this is Israel right here. the camera can see it. This is Israel, and Cornelius came from Caesarea. Caesarea is right in the middle, or it's in the northern kingdom, the northern part of Israel. And you have, where is it? Nazareth is almost the closest place to Caesarea. Then you got Jerusalem down with Bethlehem and Judea. And this is another reason why they don't understand who the Gentiles were. Because you had Judea was the southern kingdom. Then you had the northern kingdom where Ephraim and the northern 10 tribes had land. Their land was divided in these parts. So Cornelius, if he is living in Caesarea, he's living around all Israelites because their land was divided. The land was divided amongst the 10 to 12 tribes, the families. But see, at this time, you had something that went on. Let's get that. In Ezra's. Because during the Persian rulership, the Medes and the Persians who took over after Babylon, because the Israelites was in, and mainly the southern kingdom was in the captivity or slavery under the Babylonian. So when the Persians took over Babylon, they went into Babylon, took over Babylon. This is what happened. Let's see here. Ezra, he was like the leader, and he documented pretty much what happened when they came out of their captivity. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get right to the point. Ezra chapter 1 verse 5, it say, then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites, with all them whose spirit God had raised to go up to build the house of the Lord which is in Jerusalem. So once the Persians took over, you had the 10 tribes, they was going another direction. See, they went into captivity under a whole nother king. And you had the Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, they was taken into captivity under Nebuchadnezzar and the king of Babylon. So this is what those two captivities was what separated the nation of Israel. So you had 10 tribes over here, and let's get that. You got the northern kingdom, and 10 tribes. The northern kingdom and 10 tribes, they were separate from the Jews. The Jews was 3 tribes. Just like in Esdras. And let's put that here. The Jews was 3 tribes. Benjamin, and Levi. The Levites were the high priest. Judah was who birthed the kings, and Benjamin was one of the first kings of Israel. Now you got the Jews and you got the 10 tribes, the northern kingdom. They was not living in Israel. I don't know if I spelled that right, but they were living, they were strangers. Let's say it like that. Now they got another definition in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, proselyte. Now you got a lot of the Christians, they'll talk about the proselytes and try to act like that was heathen nations separate from Israelites. Now, here it talks about the 3,000 people in Acts chapter 2. Now, Acts chapter 2, when those 3,000 people was baptized, they named proselytes in the middle of these people. Now, mind you, Acts chapter 2 is before Acts chapter 2 is before Acts chapter 10, where Peter said, I have never, it's unlawful for us to go into another nation. He said, so before Acts chapter 10, he was not dealing with these other nations. You see, he said it was unlawful for us to deal with these people until he got this dream. When he got the dream, then this is when he went to Cornelius. What's that? Acts 10 and 19, it say, when Peter thought on the vision, the Spirit said unto him, behold, 3 men seek you. So Peter was given a vision, but before he was given that vision, he wasn't dealing with these other nations. Now, let me, Salaki, let me get this heathen one more time. Okay. Proselytes. Okay. A foreign resident. So a proselyte is a foreign resident, often rendered stranger. So that's what a proselyte was. So what was going on with the foreigners and the strangers? Why were they being called foreigners and strangers? Let's get James 1 and 1. James 1 and 1. It said, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. So they was going, James was writing to the foreigners, the strangers. This is who James was writing to. See, he was writing to the proselytes. See, that's another uh pretty much word for Gentile. That's all that is. You had proselytes, you had Gentiles. Okay, then you got Peter. Peter did the same thing with his letter, and you had a lot of these church fathers. They recognized that Peter was writing to Israelites. Chapter 1 of First Peter, it said, Peter, an apostle of Yahushua Mashiach, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia. See, the elect, and the elect has always been the Israelites. And let's get that real quick. Okay, let's see here. Hmm. All right, Salakia. I was looking for my elect scripture. This is the Bible I don't have precept. Because I think it's in 66. The bottom of 66 is. All right. I'll come back to that. Now, let me get some of these precepts. Let's get into the Maccabees and get into the history. Why was the Israelites scattered, and why was they called Gentiles and Greeks in the New Testament? Now, let me get one of those verses. I think it's in Salakia. It's in what is it? Let's see here. Acts 10. No, Romans 10. Yeah, Romans 10 and 12. It says, "For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek, for the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him." So why didn't Paul say Gentile? And why didn't he say the nations, the Jews and the nations, or the Jews and the Gentiles? He said Greek. Now another situation. Um, Acts chapter 6, the first verse says, "In those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Greeks against the Hebrews, because their widows were neglected in the daily administration." And you got the translations say that those Greeks was Israelites. Some translations say Greek speaking Jews. But right there it said Grecians or Greeks. That's why Paul was saying there's no difference between the Greeks and the Jews, because they was both Israelites. That's what it was boiling down to. Now, Hellenist is also in this Zondervan Bible Dictionary, and it shows what was going on in the New Testament. Where is it? There it is. Hellenist. It says Jews who made Greek their tongue. See, it says, "And with it often adopted Greek ideals and practices." So these Hellenists was called Greeks. So that's why Paul is saying in Romans 10 and 12, "For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek." Mind you, in verse 1 of chapter 10, which he ain't writing nothing in no chapters, but in verse 1 of chapter 10, he said, "Brethren, my heart desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved." See, he wasn't talking about believers, people with faith. He said that they might be saved. And so then he got down to the conclusion that there's no difference between the Jew and the Greek. The Greek speaking Jews was the same as the Jews. The Gentile foreigners, the Israelite foreigners who was called Gentile, they was the same as the Jews. That's what he was talking about in chapter 4. He did the same thing in chapter 4. No, chapter 3. 3 and 9. It say, "What then? Are we better than they?" What was he talking about? The Jews. Because he was from the tribe of Benjamin. It was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. He was from this tribe of Benjamin. So he was considered a part of the Jews. He was a Pharisee. The Pharisees taught him and raised him up. So he was saying, "Are we better than these 10 tribes, these foreigners that was scattered, that don't live in the land, that was banished, that we don't have dealings with?" See, because like Peter was saying, we don't supposed to have dealings with. It's unlawful for us to have dealings with these heathen, uh, these men that's rejecting the law, rejecting our laws. But this is what he said in Romans 3 and 9. He said, "What then? Are we better than they?" See, this is what the issue was. No, in no wise. For we have before proved both Jews and Gentiles that they are all under sin. See, all of them was under the law. Uh, look at what he said. This is the same chapter, verse 19. That was 3. He say that they are all under sin. What did he mean by that? Look at verse 19. Now we know that what things soever the law says, it says to them who are under the law. See, all of them was under the law. The Jews, the 3 tribes, and the 10 tribes was under the law. The law was given to them. That's why in chapter 3, verse 1, he said, what advantage then have the Jew? Or what profit is there of the circumcision? Chiefly because they unto them was committed the oracles of God. Because they still was sitting in Moses' seat. See, they went into slavery under a whole nother king and scattered all around, and they had to come back uh, to the fold. See, these was Gentiles, and he let it be known. Paul, who was going to the Hebrews, let me see if this Bible say that in Hebrews. Is this the Bible? Yeah, the epistle to the Hebrews. See, Paul was writing letters to the Hebrews. He wasn't sitting around writing letters to any random person that's so-called want to be a believer. He writing to the Hebrews. Now, is it 3 and 25? 13. Let's see what was it 13, 25? Okay, that's in my other King James. Yeah. I think my other King James say to the Hebrews. So, okay. So now these Greeks in Romans 10 and 12, let's deal with that. There's no difference between the Jew and the Greek. And see, Romans is powerful. But I'm going to get the apocrypha after I look at this one more time. It says, what is it, 10 and 12. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek, for the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. Okay. So let's go. Talking about Israel the whole time, but they want to put themselves in the picture. Let's get this apocryphal history on what happened and why Paul was talking about Jews and Greeks. Why it was a bunch of Greek women that was Jews. See, that wasn't getting the same treatment as the women that was living in the land and they had came up as Israelites in Judea. Why was those women called Greek women, but they was Jews? Okay, what is it, Maccabees, second Maccabees. And this is why another reason they took the Maccabees out. Let's see. Maccabees, I'm going to start at verse 1. Verse 1. Second Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 1. It says, not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart. Salakia. Not long after after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God. Jump down to verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So when the Greeks took over, the Jews couldn't even profess to be a Jew. Jump down to verse 9. And whosoever would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles should be put to death. See, this is when the Israelites became Gentiles. I'm going to put that on here. Okay. I'm going to read that one more time. 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 9. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles should be put to death. So you was gonna be put to death if you didn't say, "Oh, I'm not a Jew or Israelite. I am a Greek." They was forced to be Greeks. That's why Paul said what he said. Now let's go to First Maccabees chapter 1. The beginning of Maccabees tells the history also. It 1 and starting at 41. First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 41. It said, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. 43, it say, yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. So the Israelites consented to the situation. A lot of them consented. That's why you had those women that was Greeks that wasn't getting the same treatment, and they had to pick 7 men to give these Israelites the same treatment. Now, jump down to verse 50. This First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 50. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. So the Israelites was going to be put to death if they didn't say they some Greeks and live like the Greeks and do what the Greeks do, and reject their heritage and say, I'm not from the tribe of Judah, I am a Greek. What the heck is a tribe of Judah? What is an Israelite? Why does it matter? See, we all the same. The Israelites ain't better than nobody else. See, and these Greeks, who is these Greeks? Who is Antiochus? Let's get that. Who is Antiochus? Because Paul addressed this also. Like he's saying ain't no difference between the Jews and the Greeks. Who in the world is this Antiochus character? Let's find out who he is. Now he coming and he fighting against the Israelites. But who is this dude, man? Heard of an Antiochus. Okay. Now when you go in First Maccabees, to give you the history, say Alexander the Great, he died And it says the after he died, let me get what his first Maccabees um, chapter 1. I'm gonna start at verse 7 and say, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then he died. And his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Verse 10, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus. So Antiochus, he was the Greeks. Alexander the Great was the first king of the Greeks. So the Greeks, they went down and said, we're going to go down here and tell these Israelites that you got to be a Greek. And if you don't be a Greek, we're going to put you to death. But who was these people fighting against these Israelites? Because the Maccabees, they rose up. They was from the tribe of Judah in the southern kingdom. They rose up and said, we're going to fight against these Greeks. We're going to fight against Antiochus. See, we're going to fight against these people, him and his brethren. See, and what was going on? Who did he say these people was? Because you got to see, all people they got 1,000 debates, but this is what he said that these people, who these people were. I'm going to start at verse 2. He said, wherefore, this first Maccabees 5 and 2. Wherefore they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them. So they was trying to kill the Israelites. And thereunto, he said, thereupon they began to slay and destroy the people. Then Judas, Maccabee, he fought against the children of Esau in Idumea. See, that's who these peoples are. That's who the Greeks were. Alexander the Free, who they call the Alexander the Great, but he probably died of syphilis or some sexual disease because he was sleeping with men, his boy toys. Now we know certified that the Greeks we call these people Caucasian, Europeans, white people. This is what they're being called today. See, clear identification of who is the children of Esau. Now, Paul, he addressed this whole situation. See, Paul was on this thing about the Greeks because he knew the history. He was a Pharisee. He knew the history. He knew that the Greek came in and separated the people. He knew when Stephen had an issue with the Greek women, or he was a part of the situation with the Greek women that was Jews, Greek-speaking Jews, and the issue with the Hebrew-speaking Jews. See, he knew that issue. He was the one holding, sitting there when Stephen was being stoned. You see, and so now when he write his books to the Romans who took over the Greeks' lands, and they was just another version of the so-called white man. Then in Romans, right before you get to there's no difference between Jew and Greek, Romans 9 and 13, he addressed the whole situation. And he brings up, guess who he brings up? He brings up one of the sons of Isaac. I'm going to read 13 first to get to the point. He said, as it is Romans 9 and 13, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So he brought up the children of Esau. See, who forced the Israelites to be Greeks, to be pretty much Edomites. That's what these people are doing today. They forcing people to be like them. That's why you can't tell a lot of these people from who are the Edomites, because you got Arabs looking like the so-called white men, you got the Chinese looking like the so-called white men, you got all these other nations looking like the so-called white men, and it's hard to even tell who is you a Chinese or is you your daddy white. You know, it's hard to tell because they want everybody to look like them. Then let's get Habakkuk. But these the people who got the records. They went in there and they said, listen here, Israelites, we finna take over y'all whole land, and we coming in here and we gonna take the records, and y'all gonna be our slaves. That was during the Greeks. See, the Babylonians and the Persians had them and was monitoring the Israelites. But then the so-called Greeks popped up on the scene and said, we the new slave master now. We finna get all the records, and we finna be in control of everything. Now let me get Habakkuk, because we talking about Esau looking like everybody and forcing everybody up under his foot during the Romans and the Greek period and doing now. Where is this Habakkuk? How we doing? Habakkuk talks about the revealing of who forced the Israelites to be separated and to be blind of who they threw this word out here, Gentiles. See, they throw that little word out there to confuse people. They could have put Greek speaking Jews, Greek speaking Israelites. See, the dispersed. That could have been in the records, but we'll never know it because these dragons got the darn records. Now, but this was gonna be revealed in these last days. Habakkuk chapter 2. It tells you. It says in verse 3, it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. It was appointed time for the Gentile to be revealed. That's what that let's go ahead and get it, because see, that thing is so powerful. And they want to act like it's talking about a thousand different things than what it is talking about. Because they don't know. The vision wasn't given to them. That's why you can't listen to agree when it comes to this book. It got nothing to do with them. They want to assert themselves in like Yahweh was going to preach to the Romans. He was going to Pontius Pilate. He asked Pontius Pilate, Pontius Pilate asked him, what's the truth? See, he ain't sit there and break down nothing to Pontius Pilate, because he wasn't studying Pontius Pilate, man. He wasn't studying a red Edomite. See, if he wanted to save everybody, he would have preached to him and preached to some of them soldiers. He wasn't preaching to none of them, because he wasn't studying them, because they was Gentiles, man. But these people think that he let the folk kill him, and then he thought to have a heart, or he thought to repent on how he felt about him. Now, Habakkuk said the vision was for appointed time. Look at what he said in this Colossians chapter 1, verse 26. It says, even a mystery which have been hid from ages and generations, but now is made manifest to his saints. It say, to whom God would make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles. See, it was a mystery going on among the Gentiles. And this was the main mystery. Who is who? See, and who is the Gentile? Now look at this Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. It say, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. What vision was this? What vision was this? See, people, they go into prophecy and talk about, oh, the vision and the famine and the earthquakes and the wars and all. See, this ain't the vision that Habakkuk talking about. Habakkuk talking about a specific vision, and he gonna address the vision that he talking about. See, he ain't gonna get to talking about no famine and no cannibalism and no diseases popping up. See, he ain't talking about what Yahweh talking about the end of the world. See, he ain't talking about that. He being specific about what he talking about. He said, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. Now, verse 4, behold, his. Who is the his? Because he started the verse off saying, I'm going to stand on my watchtower, and the Lord came to him and said, write this vision down. And then he said, the vision going to come at the end. It ain't going to take forever, pretty much. And then he come back and say, behold, his. Who is he? Because his is just another word for he. Who is he that the vision is supposed to come at the last days? Come on now. Who is he? Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. Who is this person, man, whose soul is not right? Whose soul is lifted up with pride? See, thinking that he all that, he got all the power. Jump down to verse 5. He said, yeah, also, because he, here we go again, transgressed by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heap unto him all people. That's what Antiochus and the Greeks did. They said all peoples had to come under them, and all the heathens agreed. That's why he's saying all nations, all the nations agreeing with Esau. Come on and come up under me. See, you got America, you got the UK, you got Australia. These are melting pots, man. The EU, the European Union, all them nations up there, that people migrating, the Africans migrating, the Indians, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Vietnams, and the people from the Philippines, the Australia, the people from Hawaii. All these people is migrating to these other nations: Spain, Germany, France, Portugal, the UK. They migrate to these places to try to make some money with the rich people or work for the rich people. They come to America to try to make all this money in the Silicon Valley and with these car companies and working and opening up gas stations and stores and corner stores and businesses. This is what the people are doing to one group of people, one nation, the children of Esau, the people that was the Greeks, the same people that was the Romans. See, this is the vision that was going to come in the last days. And then one pushing that the Gentiles was them, that Paul was going to Greek countries, Edomite countries, and he was preaching to the Edomite. That's what Paul was doing. Even though Paul said in his letters that Esau was hated. Let's go back into Romans now. Because Apostle Paul was not going to preach to these Greeks. But the East Indians wasn't nowhere to be found. And the Chinese wasn't nowhere to be found. See, he didn't go all the way over there, what they call Asia. He wasn't going that far. He was right there in Colossians, Titus, Antioch, Athens, Corinth, Ephesians, all these places where the Greeks was at, where the so-called white man uh, was populating, because the Greeks took all those lands over. And they talk about that in this book of Japhet, which they probably done created that book to just tell their history on the low, because that probably ain't the original book of Japhet or Jasper, whatever the heck the book called. But it said that they went over there and took over the lands of the Japhites, because the Japhites was living in all those lands in so-called Europe, but the Greeks went and took those lands. The Romans took those lands. The Edomites took all of those lands, and now we call it Europe and European, the European uh, pretty much lands now. But they was originally Japhet, and the Edomites went and took that. But anyhow, Paul went in on these people, man. He was not going to preach to these so-called Gentile Edomites. Because that's what they're trying to push with that crap. He wasn't just preaching to Israelites. They weren't Israelite foreigners. He was preaching to everybody. So we finna find out. But the Romans, just the book of Romans alone, killed this Gentile mess. He got too much in here talking about it. The whole Romans is talking about Israelite. Israelite. Where is the other people? Only other people he named is the Edomites. And we can find out what did he say about the Edomites. Romans 9 and 11. Well, let's do 10 to get the context. Romans 9 and 10, he said, and not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So God had a purpose. His purpose for these two children that coming out of Isaac was not because these two children had did something evil or bad or something, or he foresaw that they was gonna do evil and bad, and now he gonna punish them because he foresaw and looked into the future and saw that Esau was just gonna be a straight murderer and pillage and colonizer. No, he didn't hate Esau because of that. See, he didn't see that Jacob was gonna be rebellious and go his behind into slavery, but he was gonna have mercy on Jacob anyway. And he just saw that from the future. He looked into the future and saw that and said, "Oh, he's gonna." And then he saw Jacob was gonna repent, and a remnant of them was gonna repent and try to keep the commandments and do what they supposed to do and reject Esau Christianity and start keeping God's laws and doing what he wanted to do and preaching the truth. See, he didn't look into the future and see that with Jacob. He didn't look into the future and see that with Esau. He said God had a plan. God planned the whole situation out. Okay, look at verse 12. He said he planned this out from when they was in their mama's stomach. He said for the children being not yet born, so they in the stomach. And this is what he said in verse 12. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. So now, while they're in the stomach, God done made a plan, and he done said in this plan, these Edomites gonna have to serve these Israelites. See, they gonna be around to the kingdom gonna get switched, and they gonna have to serve the Israelites. They gonna have to be slaves to the Israelites, because throughout all this history, the Greeks and the Romans was enslaving the Israelites and whooping their behind. But then he goes on to say in verse 14, what shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? God forbid, meaning no. Verse 15, for he said unto Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. passion. Verse 16. So then it is not of him that willeth. See, it ain't your free will that you just been wicked nigga. See, it ain't your free will, man. It ain't your free will that you gonna say, oh, I'm gonna repent. Oh, I'm sorry, Lord. I ain't gonna do it no more. And I'm gonna do what you told me to do. No. See, it ain't because you willing something. You got your free will and this is what you wanted to do. This ain't got nothing to do with that. What he say? This is in verse 16, Romans 9:16. So then it is not of him that willeth, or good, not, no of him that runneth. See, you trying to run, you trying to do something, you running fast. See, you trying to get there, you trying to hit the road. It ain't because you running. It ain't because this is what you want to do, man. He said, but of God that showeth mercy. See, God showing mercy on Jacob. Jacob ain't doing right and keeping the commandments, not eating stinking, nasty, funky behind pig and shrimp, crabs, and lobsters, and chasing other people's women and drinking blood like these idiots, messing with people's children, messing with the same sex, messing with animals. Jacob ain't doing all that because Jacob just wants to run in the right direction. No, it's because Jacob got mercy from the Lord and he fell into the spot of the righteous. See, he fell into the plan of the righteous. But what about Esau? That's the whole question. He said concerning Esau, verse 17, for the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up. So these Edomites, the so-called white man, is not raised up to be king where he can force the Israelites to be a dirty slave. He didn't raise uh, Pharaoh up just so he can be a slave master. See, he raised Pharaoh up. Why? He said that I might show my power in you and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. See, when Esau, when the Lord showed his power through Esau, see, he don't raise Esau up. Esau got nuclear missiles, he got biological weapons, he got guns, bombs, tanks, battleships, uh, planes that can fly, break the sound barrier. Uh, he got all these weapons that he can use. He using psychological weapons. See, he got all these weapons that he's using. Now when the Lord come and utterly destroy this man and all of his weapons, because see, Revelation 6:4 say the nation of Esau is going to be given a great sword, meaning anything concerning the weapon, Esau gonna have it and he gonna be creating that crap. So the Lord gonna show his power by destroying Esau. But it's deeper than that. That's why he raised Esau up. Now let's get into what Esau probably thinking in his head. Verse 19, he say, though thou willest say then unto me, to Esau, even Jacob, they'll say this to God, why do ye yet find fault? So if you making everybody do your will and not their will, they don't got free will to do what they want to do. You making them do what you want them to do. So how are you finding fault with us saying, well, man, you made me do it. Why they pretty much saying you made me do it. He say, but best asking that question, why do you find fault? He say, thou wilt say unto me, why do he yet find fault? For who have resisted his will? See, you can run your mouth till the sun come up, but you ain't gonna resist the will of God, man. You can say, oh, I want to be a fisherman. I'm gonna be a fisherman. I'm gonna get me a boat and I'm gonna be a fisherman. But you can't do what you want to do. You gonna do what God wants you to do. You gonna play out the plan He set out for your behind. Um, he say, "For who have resisted His will?" Verse 20. This Romans 9:20. Nay, but O man, who art thou that repliest against God? Who are you, man, to talk back to me and try to tell me something? Yeah, you say, nay, but oh man. See how you say how dirt and ashes proud. Somebody I created from the dirt. He gonna come up and it's like you go to the beach and you make you not a sand castle, but you build a sand up to look like a man, a little short midget, what one of them leprechauns or something, and you make it out of sand, and then the thing go to talking to you, trying to tell you something. Say, man, who are you? You gonna come? You gonna tell me something, man? I don't just sat here on the beach under the sun drinking a martini or lemonade and put some salt water with your behind and build you. I can knock you over and do what I want to do anytime I want to do it. He said, verse 20, nay, but O man, who art thou that replies against God? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Verse 21, have not the potter power over the clay, and the same lump to make one vessel unto honor, meaning respect, and another unto dishonor, meaning disrespect. So when we disrespect these red dragons and they talk about thou should not abhor Edomite, and you should not be hating on the white man, and y'all shouldn't be hating on him. All this effeminate mess. It's a have not the power the powder power over the clay. So he made one people that was gonna be wicked, and he made another people that was gonna be given mercy, meaning they gonna still follow this dragon, but they gonna repent and turn back. He gonna show mercy on them and cause them to turn back when it's time to turn back in the end. See, because that vision was gonna happen in the end. The book was gonna be open in the end. See, they was gonna live a wicked life like the rest of these fools, following the main wicked. But in the end, they was gonna wake up and say, "Hold on, wait a minute. I understand what this book is saying now. I was going to these people's church, don't know what the heck they talking about. Everybody is the same, and everybody just gotta run their mouth and don't do no kind of actions and follow no kind of instructions in the book, and we gonna be all right, man. God, this is God of love. He love everything and everybody. See, we were thinking like that. Now I can read the book and I can understand it. The book done open up the seals and done broke off the book. I can understand the book. See, that's the mercy the Lord done showed to Jacob. But what did he show to Esau? Look at verse 22. He said, what if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? So he wanted to show his wrath. See, let's start it from the top, because that tells a lot. He said, what if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known? So he done raised up Esau like Pharaoh, and he let Esau keep being hard-headed, collecting more wrath, collecting up more wrath by being wicked. See, how is God gonna show? He want to show his wrath. He want to show how much power he got. So let this man go all out with his wickedness. Let me let this man fulfill all his wicked desires and pleasures. See, because when I come with the hammer, when I drop the hammer on this dude, it's gonna show my power to the max. And then he said, uh, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath. So this, he's suffering, seeing that this vessel is doing all kind of wicked mess. But he said the vessel is fitted for destruction, meaning it's created to be destroyed. It's like you creating, say you playing a video game, you creating your opponent, because you can create characters on the video game. You can make yourself 8 feet tall with big muscles and all this kind of stuff. And you can fight Mike Tyson or some kind of famous boxer or fighter. So you can, and then, or you can be a famous boxer or fighter, and you can create your opponent. So you gonna create your opponent. You want him to be like Goliath, and you looking like King David, a little boy. See, that was another example. See, he set that whole situation up. He gonna get all these grown behind men in Israel, big old Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James Negroes standing up out him with weapons, and he gonna go get a darn child to come fight this other big old behind man, probably 7 feet tall, with big muscles and a big sword. See, he set that situation up so he could show his power with this little boy with a slingshot and say, I'm coming in the name of Yahweh. And I'm gonna throw a rock and hit this nigga in the head and then chop his head off. See, so now the Lord gonna get the glory, because common sense will tell you this little boy is never gonna beat no freaking man. It's not gonna happen, man. This little boy, David, is not gonna beat no grown behind man that none of the men can barely beat. He the head of the stronghold of the army. He the Gatling gun of the army. They gonna bring out the Gatling gun when they feel like they're in trouble. They bring out that Gatling gun so they can try to win the war with this joker. So the Philistines, they bringing out the Gatling gun, Goliath, and the Lord done brought out little David, little bitty child, because he trying to let it be known his wrath. When he bring his wrath, he gonna get the credit. It ain't gonna be because some Negroes say we gonna get a bunch of guns and we gonna get with our Hispanic brothers and we gonna march through the city and make the so-called white man scared. No, see, he'll make y'all shoot yourself in the foot. See, he make the gun go off by accident. The clip fall out, gun falls to the ground and shoot a couple of y'all. Let y'all know you're not taking my credit, man. I'm gonna put my wrath on Esau. Now let's get off of Paul, because Paul just killed the Edomites with that right there. See, that's what Romans 9. And then after he demolished the Edomites, what did we run into? See, that's why I'm bringing this thing up, and it's through the Spirit, because right after he murdered and demolished the Edomites, 23, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy which he had afore prepared unto glory, even us whom he hath called, not the Jews only, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, not the Jews only, see, but also the Gentiles. The Gentiles. It's simple, man. Why are you gonna talk about a heathen nation? See, a non-Israelite, and then you say not. He gonna beat Esau behind the Edomites. He gonna destroy the Edomites. He done created the Edomites just to destroy their behind. He made them wicked just to destroy them and kill them. Then he go to talking about Jews and Gentiles. The Jews, God don't just like the Jews. He like the Gentiles too. After he just said he hate Esau. What kind of sense did that make, man? Why would he say I'm an old God is with the Edomites too, even though he hate them? No, he was talking about Israelites, man. Not the Jews only, but also the Gentiles. See, also the Gentiles, because the Gentiles are Israelites. Now let's go to verse, chapter. Hold on, he get into them. Then he quote the greatest verse of all time concerning the Gentiles. So he talk about Esau, how he gonna kick Esau behind, and he planned the whole situation out. Then he say the glory is for us. He prepared the glory for the Israelites, and the mercy for the Israelites, and the riches for the Israelites, not just the Jews, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Because these Christians don't got no kind of knowledge of the history of the Bible. They just see Jews and think that's all Israelites. The whole 12 tribes, Jews. No. It says, verse 25, Hosea 1 and 10. Paul quotes Hosea 1 and 10. Now, why did Paul want to quote something in the Old Testament about these Israelites, man? He talking about the Gentiles. He said not just the freaking Jews only, man. What is y'all talking about? Y'all think God just gonna get the riches and the mercy to the Jews only? Who told y'all that? Where did y'all get that from? Let me go to Hosea as apostle to the Gentiles. Let me go to Hosea, and we're gonna start from the beginning. This Apostle Paul now, because you writing a letter, that's just like you doing what I'm doing now. This is a letter. And he said, let me go to Hosea chapter 1, verse 10. Since we talking about Jews and Gentiles, let's see what we talking about. And he quote the whole situation. He said, Hosea, he said, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered, but it shall come to pass that in the place where it is said unto them, you are not my people, foreigners, strangers. See, let me write down. Strangers. You is not Israelites, man. Y'all some Greeks. Y'all living in Ethiopia. So they'll go talking about the Ethiopian eunuch. See, that's the spirit. I didn't even think about him. Oh, he was from Ethiopia. He was a Hamite. No, he was a stranger living in Ethiopia, living in the land of Ham. And when he was living in the land of Ham, what were the Hamites saying to him? You are not an Israelite, man. You from where we from? How you know you an Israelite? Who told you you from Jerusalem? How you supposed to know all of this? See, I know where my daddy from, man. My daddy came from over there. My dad did this and that. He can tell them whatever history they tell him. But guess what the Hamites gonna say? Man, how you know you an Israelite? Man, you ain't no better than nobody else. See, that's a raggedy Christian talking right now. He said, you are not my people. There in Ethiopia or China, wherever you at as an Israelite, there it shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living God. Because when the books are open, when the seals is broken off the book, when the appointed time of the vision comes to let us know who is telling lies to us, see, because he transgressing by his wine that he pushing, the lies that he pushing, the philosophies and influence that he pushing off on people, or by the threat of your life. If you don't say you a Gentile, we gonna put you to death. You don't say you a Greek, we gonna put you to death. See, in those places where they saying that you are not my people, come on, man. Now, Peter, let's go ahead and get Peter, because I might close out with Peter. That's how powerful Peter's situation is. And that's why they make that saying, you got to rob Peter to pay Paul. Because Peter, you robbing Peter of his leadership. Paul was up in the ranks, but Peter was the leader, man. People went to Peter to get what was going on. That's why we're going to Peter now. And what did Peter do? He did the same thing that Apostle Paul did. What did Peter do? He went to the Old Testament. What is it? First Peter. I want First Peter. Peter went to the Old Testament. What did he do? He quoted Deuteronomy 14:2 or Deuteronomy 7:6. He said, 1 Peter 2:9. But ye are a chosen generation. See, a chosen family, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a separate nation from all these other nations. You're a separate people. You ain't trying to mingle in and bring all people together and have a melting pot like the so-called white man. You a holy nation, a peculiar people. See, then just get right to the point. Jump down to verse 10. He said, which in time past were not a people. In time past, you didn't know you was an Israelite. You was in the Greek lands. You was in the Roman land. And the Romans and the Greeks telling you, man, you better not even think about calling yourself an Israelite, man. We gonna chop your head off. We gonna throw you in some hot water or some hot oil and burn you to death. We gonna put you on the stake and burn you up. See, we gonna throw you on a cross or a torture stake and kill you behind. See, what are you talking about? You an Israelite? Now, he quoted exactly what the Apostle Paul quoted. In time past, you were not a people, but now the people of God. See, and see that people. See, you was not a nation. That people can go for nation, especially using that word Thanos or whatever, ethnos, or I forget the pronunciation. But the word means either nation, tribe, or people. Nation, tribe, or people. But guess what? Esau. He stole the records, man, and he gonna put in what he want to be in there. See, I don't give a dang what. And guess what? It went all the way. This goes back to 144 AD, and that number is just so spiritual. Macron. That's his name. We're gonna put his name, because he the one really caused this Gentile situation to pop up. Macron. RCON. And this is where Christianity come from too. This buzzard. It's a big part of it. See, Macron 144 AD. This dragon, see, he the Edomite to come up and say, oh, it's an Old Testament. And that Old Testament is dealing with that God that was crazy, insane in the membrane, killing people. And guess what? He don't allow Gentiles to come into the operation. He don't allow the Edomites, my peoples, to come in the fold. He gave all the promises to Jacob. See, So Macklin say, man, this Jesus fella, see, he the one that he is got another whole nother God. His God is different than the God of the so-called Jews. His God is different than the God of the Israelites. His God say God love everybody, all the nations, the people that just don't got nothing to do with the Israelites. He love everybody, man. It's that God of the Old Testament. He only like the Jews. So guess what? We gonna only deal with the God of the New Testament. And Apostle Paul is the only person you're supposed to listen to. This, he said, Apostle Paul is the only apostle. Apostle Paul is the only apostle. This dragon. See, Apostle Paul, he the only one because he's writing to get you confused. Let's go to that. Peter said, hold on, man. Y'all, that's why they say you robbed Peter to pay Paul. Because Peter tell you straight up what was the situation. It was all about the Israelites. John Calvin uh, let it be known it's all about the Israelites. Peter was writing about the Israelites. Peter was writing to the Israelites. John Calvin and a lot of them church, so-called church fathers, they knew Peter was writing to the Israelites. Man, he wasn't writing to no freaking Edomites or Moabites or Ammonites or Hamites or Elamites or Ishmaelites. He wasn't writing to these people, man. He was writing to the Israelites. And they know it. It's the new people that's running, that the government pushing not to go preach that crap. Nah, what he said, Apostle Paul, Peter. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Peter said, man, y'all reading Apostle Paul's letter, and he finna have you people totally confused, man. Cause Paul, I know Paul know what he talking about, but y'all don't know what Paul talking about. And Macklin, he say, man, Paul is the only apostle. Don't you listen to no Peter and John and James. Don't listen to none of them people. Because they trying to confirm that the Israelites is the only people that God dealing with. The Israelites is the only people that God got the promises for and giving mercy to. See, but he's saying, you got to go by Paul, because now if you only read Paul, he might convince you that you can get in there, because he using the word Gentiles and he using the word Greeks. See, but Paul was using these words because the Israelites was forced to be Greeks. But anyway, let's see what Peter said. Peter said in 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 16, it said, as also in all his epistles, Paul, our beloved brother Paul, in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, okay, in which are some things hard to be understood. So Paul in all his writing, it's hard to be understood. So that's why Macklin, he can twist it. And every Christian that's walking around, they're going to go to Paul and try to twist something and say, no, you got to go to Galatians. You got to go to Corinthians and read this. You got to go to Romans and read that. See, they going to go straight to Paul and go pulling some mess out of their behind, not knowing you following the philosophy of a red dragon Edomite, Macron, 144 AD, certified history and fact. Peter say, as this is 2 Peter 3 and 16, speaking in them of these things in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned, see, they ain't learned the splitting of the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. They ain't learned that the Jews are only three tribes. See, they ain't learned these things. They just listen to pastor. See, they ain't learned what? Matthew 10 and 5, where Yahweh, who they even called Jesus Christ, he told them, he said, go not in the way of the Gentiles, but to the lost sheep. See, they ain't learned the specific instruction, the Christ or the Messiah or the King of Kings, the Son of God, gave his disciples direct instruction. Do not go in the way of the Gentile. Go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. See, go to lost Israelites. See, Yahweh was telling his disciples, go to the lost Israelites, man. Go to the Israelites that's foreigners, that's strangers to the covenant. That's strangers. They don't even know that the dragon done told them, you better not even think about calling yourself a Jew or Israelite. Peter say, things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable wrestle as they do also the other scriptures unto their own destruction. See, and that's what most of the 2/3 they gonna choose to believe Esau. They gonna choose to believe that the Gentile is in the New Testament. The Gentiles are talking about the heathen, the people that weren't given the law. See, the people that still got to get punished, like the nation of Israel, because Jeremiah 25 let it be known that all the nations got to be punished as a nation. See, not 30 Edomites was kidnapped and they were POWs in Vietnam, so they went through the punishment of God. No. See, same thing with any other nation. They were 200 of them was kidnapped and they went into the their nation went into the punishment of God. No. Your whole nation got to go into punishment like the Israelites. But what we the Gentiles. The Gentiles is now the 2/3 blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And see, they gonna believe Esau about the Gentiles is anybody, and the Gentiles can come on in the fold and the promise. When it's two declarations that the Most High done set up. See, he done set it up with the non-Israelites got to get punished as a nation. All of their peoples at one time got to get punished. So they cannot come into the fold. They have to go and get punished for what their forefathers did. What's that? Isaiah 14 and 21. Your forefathers did stuff, and y'all got to get punished for that stuff, man. As a nation, the Israelite forefathers did stuff, and they went into slavery 4 and 5 times, man. What man? Who? Why are y'all so special that y'all can avoid the punishment of God? Good gracious! But see, the Gentiles, they gonna believe Esau. They gonna believe that Esau told them the truth. And Esau is a man of God. See, Esau handed them down the right doctrine during slavery, and they gonna hold on to that doctrine. See, that doctrine was a correct doctrine that they got, that Esau got from God. See, and this was gonna happen to the 2/3 of the nation of Israel. 66%. Jeremiah 8:3, it say, and death shall be chosen rather than life. See, Esau represent death for the 12 tribes. If you want to sit up here and follow your slave master, who been your slave master to the Greeks, the Romans, he conquered Judah a couple times during the King Solomon days, around that time, you finna choose him. He say, and death shall be chosen rather than life by all the residue of them that remain of this evil family, which remain in all the places, foreigners and strangers. They ain't in Jerusalem now. In all the places, as Gentiles, y'all in all these other places, and y'all Gentiles, they say, which remain in all the places, brother, I have driven them, thus saith the Lord of hosts. See, 2/3 is going to choose to believe that the Gentile is anybody, and Apostle Paul is the only person that you're supposed to listen to, like the slave master Macron was talking about. See, they felt they superhero Edomite. He was telling the truth about Apostle Paul is the only apostle you're supposed to listen to. He precedes all the other apostles that was there way before he popped up on the scene. He's the only one you're supposed to listen to. When Peter said, go to the lost sheep, go to the nation, the holy nation, the chosen generation, the Israelites that wasn't called Israelites. He quoting Hosea 1:10. Forget what Peter talking about, man. Listen to Paul. He the only one you supposed to listen to, because you ain't gonna understand the Greeks and the Gentiles. He's talking about Israelites. You're not gonna understand. He was saying there's no difference between a Jew and a Greek. You're not gonna understand that. Listen to Paul only. See, this what the 2/3 they gonna choose to listen to the philosophy of Esau, because that's why I say this, his soul in him is not upright. The Lord planned on him doing it. You see, he planned on Esau being a deceiver. That's what devil means, the deceiver. Let me see how much time I got. Hour and 30 minutes. So I'm gonna close out. Let me make sure I get all my verbal scripts in here. Let me get Acts chapter 2. Acts 21. Okay. Acts 21:21, it says, and they are informed of you that you teacheth all the Jews which are among the Gentiles. See, Apostle Paul was teaching the Jews that was among Gentiles. See, that means he was teaching lost Israelites that was hanging among or living as foreigners and strangers amongst the nation. That's who Paul was teaching. Okay. Um, let's get second Corinthians or First Corinthians, not Second Corinthians. First Corinthians 12 and chapter 12. First Corinthians chapter 12, verse 2. Ye know that you were Gentiles. See, you were Gentiles until we woke you up and told you that you was from the tribe of Issachar. You from the tribe of Ephraim. You from the tribe of Manasseh. You from the tribe of Gad, Reuben, Simeon. See, you from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, Levi. See, you was a Gentile. He said, you know that you were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as you was led. What he said, 2/3 was going to choose death in the places where he led them. See, they was going to choose to be a Gentile. Well, I'm not an Israelite. It don't matter. And being an Israelite don't matter. The Bible ain't about who you are. Boy, I tell you. Let's see here. Okay, that was Corinthians. Let's get Ephesians. In Ephesians, when you're looking at it through the right lenses, it's one of the best verses. Good night, huh? Ephesians is one of the best verses. Galatians and Ephesians. Good Lord. Here we go. Ephesians chapter 2, starting at verse 11. It says, wherefore remember that ye been in time past Gentiles, see, in the flesh, who are called uncircumcised by that which is called circumcised. See, the Jews were circumcised. They were living in the land under the seat of Moses, and they were circumcising their children. But the 10 tribes wasn't. They was living outside of Jerusalem. They wasn't dealing with the Pharisees and Sadducees and the high priests, the tribe of Levi. See, they wasn't dealing with the laws of God. And the Jews was calling the Gentiles uncircumcised. See, but they want to say, oh, we not talking about, no, he was talking about no Jews now. He was talking about the non-Jews that wasn't living by the laws. No, it was 10 tribes that wasn't living by the laws. He gonna choose a bunch of wicked behind Gentiles who fathers handed them down punishments from God that ain't been given to them. They still on the books. They punishment still on the books. But he gonna skip over the 10 tribes and go give some stuff to them Negroes who still got to get punished by God. Come on, man. Anyways, it says, verse 12, this is Ephesians 2 and 12, that at that time ye were without Christ, being aliens, foreigners, from the commonwealth of Israel. What's the commonwealth? You get land in the nation of Israel. That's the commonwealth. The commonwealth of the Israelite is you possess land. The land was divided between Judah, Benjamin, Levi, and the other 12 tribes. That's the commonwealth. Okay? It says, and strangers from the covenant of promise. You didn't know you had promises coming to you, man. You was a freaking stranger. You wasn't knowing that you got a promise coming from the Israelites, man. You didn't know nothing about no Israelites. They were calling you black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, Jamaicans, West Indians, Haitians, Cubans, Venezuelans, Guatemalans, Cuban, not Cuban, but Puerto Rican, Mexican. See, they calling you all types of names, man. Having no hope. See, because the hope you talking about dying and go to heaven, that's some bull crap. And without God in the world. See, you weren't with God because you didn't know he was only dealing with the Israelites. You with Macron. Macron is your God. Esau is your God. See, that's who you with. But now in Yahushua Mashiach, ye who sometimes were far off are made near by the blood of Yahushua. So he died so the Gentile who was not being told what was going on can come back into the fold. The lost Israelites, see, go not to the way of the Gentiles, but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. See, the lost Israelites can come in. That's the main mission. What that was? Matthew 10 and 5, Matthew 24, Matthew 15:24. He told him to go to the lost sheep, man. He told the lady in Matthew 24, I came for the lost sheep. I ain't come for all y'all people outside of the nation of Israel. I ain't come for y'all. The Jews ain't listening to me anyway. So, well, most of them, and or the leaders, Salakia, the leaders ain't listening to me. But y'all go find the lost sheep that ain't a part of the living in the Jews and don't know who they are. Go find them. That's what Yahweh was telling his disciples, man. And go into all nations and go to find them. Because guess what? Just like Peter and James say, they scattered. They scattered amongst all the nations. Go find them. They got inheritance. Uh, they have a covenant of promise. They have a hope that they don't know that they even have. They living without it. They don't even know they got it. But they got it. They come from the tribe of Benjamin, come from the tribe of Levi, Judah. They got inheritance. They got a covenant. They inherited a covenant with God. Go find them lost Israelites, man. I'm the Messiah, the Savior of the Israelites, the deliverer of the Israelites. See, I ain't coming to look for no freaking Edomites who got us in slavery. I'm not coming to look for no Hamites who just had us in slavery under the Babylonians. I'm not coming to look for no Persians and all these people that had us under their thumb. I'm not looking for them people, man. They got to get punished for all that they did to us. I'm coming for my peoples. Okay? So that Ephesians is one of the main killers. And John 7:13. Let's go ahead and get that. I ended on that. Because I'll go 5 hours on these people. YouTube. Was that John 7:35? It say, then said the Jews amongst themselves, whether will he go? Where will he go that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? See, the Gentiles were the dispersed Israelites, the foreigners and the strangers. They was the dispersed and the scattered Israelites, and the Jews was calling them Gentiles. That's why he said, go to the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles. See, them saying among the Gentiles let you know that it wasn't talking about the Gentile of non-Israelite type of Gentile. He was talking about going to the dispersed. See, that was the subject matter. Is he gonna go to the dispersed? Now, the Gentiles is just letting you know that they saying that these dispersed are considered Gentiles in the eyes of the Jews because they know they probably part of the 10 tribe. If not, they were scattered Benjamin, Judah, and Levi, and they don't live in the land. Okay. What's the other one? It was John 11. John 11 and get right to the point. 51. He said, and then spake, this John 11:51, and this spake he not of himself, but of being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yahushua should die for that nation. 52, and not for that nation only, but Jews, not just the Jews only, but also the Gentiles. He said, um, Yahushua should not die for that nation, and not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together the children, gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad. See, he coming to get gathering. That's the key. Three things. A gathering. The gathering was, was, was because these two kingdoms were separated. So you had to gather them back together as one. And this is why it was Jews and Gentiles. Because these are two kingdoms. These are two certified situations. A group of people that were separated. See, the northern kingdom, they certified as Gentiles, as foreigners, because they were separated. But you still had Judah, Benjamin, and Levi that was Gentiles too, because they was forced to be Gentiles under the Greeks or under Esau, the so-called white man. Okay, so what else I got? I got Peter, James, and what First Kings 8 talks about them being in the land of their captivity and remembering that they was Israelites. They was lost in the land of their captivity. Then they remember, oh, I'm an Israelite. That goes along with Hosea 1 and 10. Baruch 2 and 30. They remember themselves in the land of their captivity. See, they remember that they was Israelites. Acts 2 and 5. Those people came from all over the world and understood that they was Israelites and was keeping the feast. Okay? And Amos 9 and 9. The Israelites is going to be taken out of all nations. See, gathered from all nations. That's why Yahushua told his apostles to go into all nations. Don't go to the Gentiles though. Go into all, don't go into the what is considered the real Gentile. Because it's just like saying a crackhead. Now, you got 4 kids, and they done start calling your kids crackheads because they hanging with crackheads. See, that's all it is. They hanging, you going to be considered of who you hanging with. That's what they say. So if they are among the Gentiles, they're going to be called Gentiles. What is it called? It's a verse I used to go to, what is it, First Corinthians, 12, where is that? It talks about having association with certain people. But it pretty much talks about when you associate with people, you become just like them. And so this is why they was called Gentiles, because they was living among the Gentiles, so they was being called Gentiles. It's that simple, man. But they wanna follow Esau and Macron, and they gonna believe that Apostle Paul was looking for some freaking heathens, and the other Israelites was looking for heathens. They weren't looking for the Israelites. They were looking for the heathens, man. And the heathens is just as good as the Israelites because they all broke the laws of Moses, which the non-Israelites wasn't even given the laws of Moses. So how they breaking some laws? We all sin and come short of the glory. You Gentile, you non-Israelites didn't know nothing about no laws to break nothing. You didn't know nothing about sin to be breaking a sin. So how are you talking about we all fall short of the glory? You ain't know nothing about the glory. Only people know about the glory was the southern tribe and the northern tribe of Israel. Them the people that uh, came short of the glory. Because the glory is for them. That's what Romans 9 and 4 say. The glory, it belongs to them. And let me make sure that it says that because that's a good little point. That is a good point. The glory belongs unto these people. Yep, that's the first thing that was stated. Romans 9 and 4. Who are Israelites? To who belong the adoption and the glory. See, the glory belonged to the Israelites, not some red dragons. Definitely not the red dragon who ruled during the Greeks and the Romans and ruling right now. And he straight up out of his mouth said, man, I can't stand Esau. I hate him. And I'm going to whoop his behind when I get back. I'll raise him up just so I can beat him down. The heck I'm going to go preach to him for what, Psalms, is it Psalms 50, 17? Let me get that real quick. Yeah, Psalm 50, 17. He said, uh, but unto the wicked, meaning the Edomites, the border of wickedness, it says, unto the wicked, God says, what have thou do to declare my statutes, or that thou should take my covenant in your mouth? See, what are they talking about? Putting their cup. Oh, the Gentiles. You don't even supposed to be telling nobody about no Gentile. See, because you is the wicked, and the Lord just raising you up to kick you behind. But you came out with that Christianity crap. God love everybody, and because He said the Jews and the Gentiles and all this crap, all of them was Israelites. Okay, my video's still going. All of them was Israelites. Um, and what is it? Peter. Peter let me know after all them people, so-called proselytes came in, and all them people came in, Peter said it's unlawful to deal with these non-Israelites. The Lord told us off the rip to go not into the way of the Gentiles. So it's lawful for us to go to the Gentiles, the non-Israelites, because the Lord told us not to do it. And if the Lord told us not to do it, that means it's unlawful because He is the law. See, he was a walking manifestation of the law. And He told us not to go in the way of the Gentiles, but go to the lost Israelites. That's what we was going to do. And Apostle Paul wasn't just going to pop out of nowhere and say, guess what? I'm going to go to them anyway. And Peter didn't get some dream out of nowhere and say, guess what? I didn't know what I was talking about back when I was alive. But guess what? I want you to go on to them Israelites, to them other nations, and give them all the blessings and the glory that was supposed to be given to the Israelites. We're going to switch it and just eliminate the Israelites, and I'm going to just spread the glory out to everybody and cancel all their wickedness that they did. I'm going to forgive everything that they did, and I'm going to just give all people the promises of the Israelites. It's a lie. See, because the Lord don't change and the Lord don't lie. He promised to punish these other people for their wickedness and to show mercy on Jacob and his children for their wickedness, because all of them doing wickedness. But He was going to show mercy on Jacob. That was that Isaiah 14. He going to show mercy on them because he already done punished their nation. The whole nation got punished. Get the heck out the land, and you going into slavery in all nations. What's that, Luke 21 and 24? You getting up out this land, and you going into slavery in the all nations. So they got their punishment, but these other nations ain't never lost their land, and the whole nation went into slavery somewhere. No, it ain't never happened. You know, the Persians went into slavery, and the whole nation of the Persians was under the Chinese, and they were slaves to the Chinese. No, never happened. See, the Arabs, they were all went into slavery under the Hamites. No, never happened. No, none of these nations done went into slavery under nobody, man. They kept their land, they kept their princes and kings, and their governments and their laws and their customs. They all got it. The only people that lost their custom is the Israelites. See, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Your customs is out of here. See, the Indian, the Native American had multiple wives, like the Lord said that his people can have. The so-called white man come and say, guess what? No, no, no. The American government done set these Negroes free, and you gonna have to get rid of them multiple wives, because we don't want the tribe of Judah knowing that they can have multiple wives, or even thinking that this thing is possible. We want them to think monogamy is the only way possible that you could deal with a woman. So you see how that situation popped up. Then uh the blacks, them jokers talking about they are color, and they thinking that they some freaking African. They totally lost. And the Hispanic, they definitely thinking that they don't know who the heck they is. They talking about all kind of other stuff. So the tribe is the one that need some kind of help. Not no freaking people that ain't never went into no slavery and lost their customs. The only people that don't know the custom is the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The only custom that they got is Macron and Christianity. That's their custom. Take your behind the church on Sunday and read the Bible with your grandma and have Bible study with some elders at the church. Sunday school. See, that's the custom. Sang at the church. That's the custom that these people got, even though the Lord set it up, because that's why they was still dealing with their history, but they ain't know what they was really, really, really involved in. They didn't know the whole thing that they supposed to be following. They just was in the church listening to what they forefathers was going through in these churches on every corner where the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans at. But they didn't know that what they hearing was supposed to be their custom, because the so-called Esau was telling them the Old Testament and them customs, you don't have to do none of them customs, man. It's hard. You can't even do them. Them customs is undoable. See, we all are imperfect, and you can't do them customs. You can't live by the customs of your peoples. You just have to stay a Hispanic or a black or a Native American and die and hope you go up to heaven. See, this is what most of them, the Israelites, is being told. So they the ones gonna get the blessing. They gonna get the glory. They gonna get the promises. They gonna get the kingdom. Not these other people. Well, that's Isaiah 14 and 18. He not gonna give the kingdom to these people who got kings. They ride around in expensive cars. They got castles and flying planes, and they got all kind of militaries and weapons, and nobody can come up on them and do nothing because they got guns and soldiers protecting them. See, you can run up on a Hispanic and blow his life away, or you can roll up on a black or descendant of slave and destroy his life quick, and there ain't gonna be no repercussion, and he ain't gonna have no protection. See, only protection he got is through the spirit, because God got a hedge over the Israelites. But if they being righteous, but if they being wicked, he gonna get rid of their mind. But these other nations got they physical hedge. They got armies and tanks and all kind of weapons to protect them, man. They not sitting around being a slave somewhere in somebody else's country. They don't need no saving, salvation. See, you got an army. Who you is you a POW or something? See, POWs need to be saved. POW is somebody that they're a part of a whole nother nation, and they sitting around up in your slave camp. They need their army to come save them. See, the Israelites, the Hispanics, need their army to come save them, because they living under uh, pretty much the so-called white man. The Native Americans, they on reservations, needing somebody to help them and come save them. They sitting around drunk all day, depressed about what happened to their forefathers, and they ain't got no army to fight the American government and get some payback. The descendants of slaves, the blacks, them jokers, they ain't got no nothing. See, them Negroes can't even get a job. So how you can't even get no formulate an army if you wanted to defend yourself? You getting shot down in the street like a dirty dog. Who in the world need to be saved? Not no freaking Arab. He got a whole military. Not the East Indian. He got a military. Not the Chinese. They got a military threatening Esau with the greatest military. See, they the only ones came over. Well, the Japanese, but they the brother of the Moabites, the Chinese. They come over here and try to attack the white man. How in the world they need somebody to come save them? They need a preacher to fly over to China and say, you Chinese can accept Jesus in your heart and he'll come save you too. No, none of them people need to be saved but the Israelites, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They are the Gentiles. See, they are the ones that don't know or grew up not knowing that they was Israelites. They was lost sheep. Freaking Arab, he lost sheep, but he got all kind of countries and kingdoms over there. Come on, man, get out of here. This message from the Bible was not to no freaking heathens. It was only for the Israelites because they are as a nation is in a specific condition that needs deliverance and salvation. And it was set up that way. See, it was set up that they could be POWs, like the American soldiers off in the Vietnam somewhere, and Rambo. See, they can call Rambo, and Rambo can come out with all kind of machine guns, and he can come go and save the POW. The whole situation set up that way. Because Rambo ain't gonna be seen as something amazing and good if everybody is the same. But everybody ain't the same. Some people are POWs. They prisoners of war. They in other folks' land doing what they being told. And they need a Rambo to come save them. See, the so-called white man, he don't need he is the freaking military that's kidnapping people. He don't need no savior, man. But they gonna convince the 2/3 that the Gentile is talking about a freaking uh, slave master, pretty much, because the Israelites in slavery in every land in all nations. So all the nations are slave masters to the Israelites. So the prophets of the Israelites, they was going to save some of the slave masters. I'll tell you, it's just ridiculous. But I'm gonna leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shah, Shem Kakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.